Jay from Team DMA. Welcome back to the video. So good morning. I just wanted to recap on the $12 deck in case you're interested, because I know there's a lot of people watching, not as much as the famous YouTubers, but I'm guessing once a few people are watching. And if you're interested in knowing the profile, in case you want to start your profile or you would like to buy a profile like this. Now, when I go over, what's it called? I go over expectation, like I do more than I should. And I went to go check the prices of this deck on TCG Player. It's somewhere around $20, but the problem is the shipping adds, because the secret is to get playsets of everything. So, for example, you get like the three rod, and you can squeeze $1. The three dark magician $1. But the problem is they charge you like 90 cents per playset, and then you have to pay $1 for shipping. So unfortunately, because of that, this deck is actual value is somewhere around $25, something like that, $25. And you can get it for the same price like on eBay or in other places, a similar build like this. But they're going to remove the apprentice, they're going to remove the bestial, skill drain, and I think I only seen them have one eternal, one circle, and one village. There was no, there can only be one, and they don't come with an extra deck. And their version of the decks are like shit. They're bad. And if you doubt it, go look yourself, and you'll find $20 decks. But this deck will murder those, because this deck is more in the range, like the deck how it's built, like this, like how I have it right now. The actual price, like to get it or build it, is somewhere around 30. But because um, I can go to locals or shop, I have more than like, what is it, like 10, 20 different stores where I can shop. Sometimes I can squeeze like 80 cents with no shipping from one website like that. So you have to work to build it. It's not easy. And the deck ended up costing about $12. The deck by itself, it has no extra deck. So if you write it down on pen on paper, and you can actually travel, but you're gonna end up losing money by wasting gas, the best thing to do is like me, stopping by your locals before you come back home from work, and you can pick up these cards either for free from someone or for a few cents, for like 80 cents a playset for some of these. And that'll give you the versatility of squeezing as much as you can close to the $10 mark. So the deck being somewhere around $10 to $12 in that case, if like you shop smart like I did, well, you have room for extra deck monsters, but only ones you can add. You have about $4 worth. So I would add Dragon Knight. Here it is. Then you would add uh, a Scareclaw, and then the Crawly. Everything else is up to you, but those are the main ones that you have to add so that the deck is like a deck. um, so now the question is, what can this deck do? Because it's $12. It sounds stupid. Actually, it's quite broken for $12. So I have to recap quickly and then move to the duel so you can see. So the main point of this deck, as you can take with the two circle to eternal, is to do the circle eternal, and with the village. So obviously, those are what the top tier ranks tell you, right? The fake Dark Magician players, oh, play village and Dark Magician, you'll win all your duels. It doesn't even work on Rogue. So one good thing that I took out of this $12 deck is it exposed all the fake Dark Magician players, because spellcasters in the village didn't win any duels. You can see it on my duels. I did a lot. I did like 30, 50 duels single, and then I did some matches. It never won, even in Rogue. It never won anything. It didn't do anything. So those Dark Mission players that tell you that you win a lot of duels with the village and the spellcaster, even when they tell you you win a lot of duels with village and dragoon, all of that is a lie. Even in Matchy, the current guy, the only guy is one of the only guys I trust. Like three people with Dark Mission deck in Matchy, I trust him. One of the reasons why I trust him is because he's not part of the fake Dark Mission community. He's not part of the fake Dark Magician community because he left Dragoon Turbo. Everyone who leaves Dragoon Turbo is real Dark Magician players because we're not affected by hand traps. The hand traps do nothing to you. So because of that, you have a lot of different plays. Like they play Ash, they play Droll, they play all these kinds of cards, and you're not affected. And because of that, you can take those hand traps plus set up like 4 or 5 negates, and you see it on my channel all the time. The D barrier not affected. You're not affected by basically anything. And Machi plays like that. He went away from the turbo, so that tells me he knows how to play Dark Magician. So he's attacked because they say he doesn't play Dark Magician, but he technically does. But he's trusting more on a different engine than the Dark Magician because he's trying to go to regionals, remember? So people can crucify him for that, but I don't think they should because unless you want to go to regionals and nationals and show what you got. So if you can't, well, then let him do it. So I believe, I trust him, and I believe that he's doing the right thing. So this is what the deck does also. Here, the deck is relying on the deck itself. And like I said, just to finish off, all it is Circle Eternal with the Village. And then for decks that are like creeping into the meta or mid-level meta that are too powerful, the only thing stopping them is there can only be one. And you saw it on the videos. So they're not spamming special summoning, so you're controlling everything. So for $12, this is the world's most powerful, cheapest Dark Magician deck, 100% guaranteed. If anybody, any channel, like if you know any channel, go get them, bring them to my channel. Or if anybody wants to challenge me, we'll cross-reference people's Dark Magician deck for prices. And then, because there's a guy that had like a $20 deck, no, $25 deck. He's quite, I don't think he's famous on YouTube, but he's a little famous. If you have any questions about his channel, let me know in the comments and I'll send the link. He's the world's cheapest Dark Magician, but I beat him because his is $25 and his deck is trash. This one's way more powerful than his and it's only $12. So yeah, that's what it does. It's just a Circle Eternal. I added one skill drain just because it needed room because I was moving along like a $10 mark. So I put like a $1 or $2 card just to improve it. And this is the end result. So you can see all it has is defense, destruction, and then heavy on back row destruction. And yeah, it just controls the board. It works. And if it gets crazy, you can access your extra deck and you can move on into multiple negates. But I mean, since the deck is $12, you don't have access to the extra deck. But if you want to add it, you can. So we're gonna be moving to a duel so that you see what's really going on. Now, some personal information for all those famous YouTubers or other people who attack me or attack my channel saying that I'm rigging all my duels, that I've never won a duel. That the only reason why I win is because I pay people or they're my friends or everything's rigged or I'm playing on a platform that is cheap, like they say all that stuff. On my channel, like the last 3 years, I actually played on Omega. If you go back 2 years or 1 year, it's Omega, and all of theirs where I beat all the first place national versions of the deck. So none of the decks that you see me duel against on my channel are randos. They're not random. What I do is I follow them. If they're undefeated, then I play them. The decks have to go at least 3 to 10 wins, no losses. Sometimes I do matches. Those they have to win around 3 matches, 0 loss in order for me to take interest in them. After that, I duel them and then I beat them. So I break everyone's win streak. So the notion that people are saying that, oh, Jay only wins his duels, like all of my duels are only won because it's rigged or my opponents don't know how to play. All of that is a lie. It's a lie. It's not true. However, they're the ones that don't know how to play Dark Magician because in their channel, they're struggling. They're talking about fantasy cards and then they leave Dark Magician and then their content is poor. Like they never take a lot of negations. They never go against tier 1, tier 0 decks. On their channel, there is no history of that. On my channel is full of tier 1, tier 0s. I show you how to out everything that exists. Even the cook, what's it called? The number 59 cook or something like that. I can out everything that exists. There's no card I can't out. And you can find those videos on my channel. And I have all the latest profiles in the World Championship, regionals, everything with the Dark Magician, and the Dark Magician is budget. So having that said, here so that you see what's going on with these decks, so you can see for yourself. Okay. You start off by what is it, Prosperity? The Angel combo, you should already know that with the tokens. And then from there, they usually start spamming. That's a typical combo. I've seen it all the time. They start chaining, banishing, normal, effect. Okay, so then we're gonna take a look at this field. So this guy has hand traps because I did follow him. Like I said, nobody's a rando. I follow everyone and I talk to them because this one is not like other platforms where a lot of people brag that they're doing all this kinds of stuff, but they're not aware that they're actually playing robots, so they suck. On this app, it's not the best, but at least you can have live chat, so they're real people, not robots. And this guy had a win streak on the singles. He had like 6 win streak singles. So when you look at it, you have the negations here. Usually he has her boosted up more, but with the 4 negates for the Appaloosa. But right now, I think it has, what's it, like 3? I'm not sure. And then he has an interruption, and then an interruption and an omni negate, and then he has a negation in the hand. And let me see what this one does from your. Oh, okay, that was only going to activate during his turn. So we have 3, 4, 5. We have about six negations, interruptions against a $12 deck. So this is more realistic. This is what I'm trying to tell people. And people are going to argue and say, well, this is a rogue deck. Well, check this out. Go to their channel, like type in Dark Magician. For example, like type in Dark Magician versus anything. You'll never see anyone. There's no existing duels of anyone going through 6 or 9 negates per turn. There is none. Only my channel has that material. My AC-130 can break this board like trash because it has the super polys and then heavy on the traps, which I'll set them all face down, and then I'll trigger, like for example, there can only be one, and then they'll trigger an omni negate, then I'll chain to what's it called, Graver the Secret, then they chain another one, and then I'll end up chaining to skill, so it'll block it and it'll blow up the whole field, because remember the mechanics of Yu-Gi-Oh, it'll just send it, right? So that's the knowing the mechanics of Yu-Gi-Oh helps a lot. Then after that, the deck has a lot of draw power, so I can clear the board and with the Circle Eternal. And then after that, I protect my board to where they can't clear it, because a lot of people rely on clearing your backboard, but it doesn't work on the AC-130 because the AC-130 has around 3 negates to protect the back row. So you're wasting your resources and I'm not going anywhere. And every turn is increasing more negates until I get to 12 negations. So this one's just the $12 version. But let me show you what it can do, because a lot of people don't realize that I do know how to play Dark Magician. So we're gonna search. They already negated twice. Interrupted, so that's 3. So we hit 1. That's 4. So we already took 4. So we took 3 negations, 1 interruption, and then they have another one in their hand. And the Appaloosa had more negations. I had 2 more. I had 1 more, right? So it would have been 6 negates. So this is the reality of Yu-Gi-Oh, and it goes to show that I'm right. I've been telling people since 2021 that Yu-Gi-Oh is no longer the same. You're having to deal with 6 to 9 negates per turn as a regular. It's not like, oh, a rando. No, no, no. This is just basic common knowledge. You have to deal with about 6 to 9 negates. And when I duel, because my deck is so powerful and set up to break the boards, it doesn't affect me, so you don't see it. Because I can draw 20 cards in my first turn. I can set up 6, 7, even 9 negates in my first turn. You see me do 6 or 7 from my first turn, right? I beat the first place Nationals Flunderies. I don't even think any Dark Magician deck can beat that. I don't think there's a recorded one. I beat the Regionals and Nationals first place Labyrinth too. It's on my channel with AC130. So, and with the Labyrinth, I even took the Eradicator Epidemic Virus, destroying all my spells. I still won. So why do I bring all that up? Because I'm trying to show you that the Dark Magician channels you're following, the majority of them are fake. Because they don't show you these duels. They only show you when they get negated once or twice. That means their videos are rigged. My videos, they show you when they destroy all my spells, all my traps. They destroy Dragoon. I don't even have Village, right? I don't even have hand traps. They destroy everything I have. You see me duel where they destroy my board multiple times. They get rid of Dragoon and I still win my duels. I have the Sky Striker. It doesn't matter what you can think of. I have all the decks. So this one exposes the fake Dark Magician players because this is supposed to be like a mid to high level meta, but the cards in the deck are rogue style, and it can still establish a good 6 negates on the board. And I had to deal with it with a $12 deck. So I took 4. You have to think about what I'm saying. My deck is $12, and I was able to put out 4 combos, and they stopped 4 combos. So he still had like 2 more negates, because he had somewhere around 5 or 6. That should tell you I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. Now, I didn't include any Dark Ruler Nemours or anything like that, because why worry breaking the board if you're not going to break the board anyways? After Dark Ruler, you don't have nothing to follow up to get rid of 3,000 hitters. You don't have that. So in order to up the power of the deck, let me pause it. In order to up the power of the deck, this is more what it like has to look like. You have to have the 2, there can only be 1 to stop them, and then 3 Skill Drain to block everything, and then 2 Circle, 2 Eternal to disrupt, and then you have to have back row protection with the right hand, with the Naruto, with the Dragoon, with the Dragon Knight, access to the Dark Magicians, and then the Dark Bribe. So people are wondering, like, that's not a $30 deck. Well, the deck itself is somewhere around the $25 mark, but I included a few extra deck monsters. Included in the $35 to $35 mark, which is this deck, you would get like a Dragon Knight. You get Super Poly with Starving Venom. You would get the Scareclaw, the Naruto, and most of these, because they're only a few dollars. And you can push the deck to a $30 to $35. Now this gets the job done. This one, you've seen it murder top tier decks. And the rogue are trash. And then the meta are trash. None of the hand traps affect you. You can block it all. People are wondering why, because the majority of the traps here are in my AC 130. So I can stop the evenly match. I can omni negate the lightning storm, super poly. I have access to Dragoon if I want. So this deck is probably the world's best, most powerful budget deck for sure, 100% sure. So the deck is somewhere around $25, and you have $5 to $10 leeway to add extra deck monsters. You could probably include most of these. The only ones you couldn't include is probably Dragoon and the Dark Magicians. But I mean, you have money, right? So you could incorporate a Dark Magician and the Dark Magicians and 1 Dragoon, and you should be in business. It should be somewhere around the $40 mark, and that's not bad. Like I said, I'm willing to stake my reputation on it. I believe this is the planet Earth's most powerful Dark Magician deck for its money. Out of the whole world, no channel, I don't think there's any channel that can compete. There's no way, because their hand traps won't work against me. I can out their Dragoon. Anything they can dish out, I can work on it. The only issue would be going second. Going second is going to be a little bit hard. You would have to change your extra deck to to accommodate. But going first, yeah, this deck's ugly. It's real ugly. In fact, this deck, I set up 6 negates with a $25 deck. 6 negates. You've seen it on my channel. So hopefully this video was helpful to you. What I learned from building this $15 and $25 deck was that there's a lot more fake Dark Magician players than I thought initially. Because that means that everything they're saying is a lie. Village with spellcasters doesn't help you. I learned that you can't even beat rogue decks. What makes you think you can be top tier? And when they tell you, oh, Dragoon wins duels, Village and Dragoon, that's an indicator that they are fake players. Why? Because when you go into top tier, tier 1 or tier 0, that doesn't stop them. If you don't believe me, go see Matchy's regionals, I believe. Once you start getting into the tier 1 style decks, they all outed Dragoon and Village. And people are surprised, like, wow, that's hard. No, it's not. It's super easy. Just pay attention to the duel. Anybody can out. There's a combo to do it. If people tell you, no, there's not, well, then they're not tier 1 style. Tier 1 style can get rid of everything. That's why it's a tier 1. Otherwise, it's just a regular top tier. So the decks that have versatility are the tier 1 and tier 0. So that's all for this video. And also, a lot of people can pass their tier 1 and tier 0 decks, play mandatory kaijus, and they also play mandatory evenly matched, right? So they could just trigger those, get rid of the Dragoon, or they could play the evenly matched. You're gonna have to get rid of your Village. So don't believe them. They're fake Dark Magician players. Yeah, if you want to win duels with Dark Magician, your deck has to have a bunch of negates, and you have to go against a bunch of negates. You can't play turbo, and you have to be well versed on playing through everything, hand traps, everything. You have to be able to go through it all. So Dark Magician deck is complicated. It's not easy to play, but it's super fun and very powerful if you know what you're doing. If you have any questions or concerns, let me know. It has been really fun making these decks. Hopefully you guys learned something from it. Be careful with the fake Dark Magician players. And for Loza that was saying it was impossible to create it, here I proved you wrong. The $12 deck does very good, and then this $25 deck is excellent. And a lot of those guys, they're struggling to win duels. Like, go to their channel, they're struggling. All they have is a Dragonite, Circle, and Eternal. That's outdated. That's 2019. That's way old. Here, I take a bunch of negates, and I can dish out at the same time 6 to 10 negates. So that's it for the video. God bless. Take care. Dark Magic Attack.